I'm Arriel Alisha and welcome to a story time. All right, you guys. So, I have to have this with me. This is my Pop-It toy, y'all. Very relaxing, very relaxing. Anyway, y'all, so this story time, you can tell by the title, is about how I almost did not get my house. Ooh. Okay, y'all, so I have been a homeowner I got this home in March of this year. So April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, 8 months. I've been a homeowner for 8 months. So I've been living in apartments all of my adult life ever since I moved out of my parents' house at 18. It was either 18 or 19. And I've always been on the second or third floor of an apartment building. Like, I've never, ever had a first floor apartment, right? So I've had to deal with people on top of me, people below me. So I'm dealing with people on top of me making noise, and then people below me complaining that I'm making noise. So it's just like, So after living in about 5 different apartments, I just finally decided that it was time that I upgraded and got a house, right? Because nowadays, what you pay for an apartment is damn near what you can pay for a mortgage, right? So it's like, why rent when you can own? So I had decided in September of 2020 that I was not going to renew my lease. My lease was up in May of 2021. Okay, so September 2020 is when I decided I didn't want to renew it. So I only had a short window to find a house if I wasn't going to renew my apartment. Mind you, I had to give my apartment a 60-day notice whether or not I was going to renew. So I had an even shorter window to find a house because I had to let the complex know within 60 days. So, I ended up putting a post on Facebook asking for recommendations if anyone knew of any realtors, because I didn't. So I had a couple people comment on the post, and this couple that I know, they have recommended this realtor, and I trust their judgment. So I reached out to her, and she was real cool. I told her what I was looking for. I told her the time frame that I had. So since it was September when I reached out to her and my lease was over in May, she said that would be, a little too early to look for apartment or houses. She said we should wait until January to look for houses because it takes like, she said about 3 months to close on a home. Did she say 3 months or 30 days? I think she said 30 days because it didn't say 3 months. Did it? I can't remember. She either said 3 months or 30 days. I know she said it was too early to start looking in September. It might be 3 months. Well, do it take that long to close my house? Maybe it's 30 days. I don't know, y'all, but either way, it was too early to start looking in September. So she told me to reach back out to her in January, and we would get the ball rolling. So January came, January 2021. I reached out to her and I told her, I'm still serious about not renewing my lease. It's over in May. I want to move. I'm done with apartments. So the first step was to see if I could get approved for a loan. Now, I did want to go through a first-time homeowner program, but she kind of broke it down to me of how those work and how it's more so for people who don't have money to put down on a home. And I had money to put down. So we had just decided that wasn't the route that I should go. So she hooked me up with the loan officer that she works with. So I had to speak with him, and he had to get some information and then find out if I qualified for a loan. So I was nervous because, they go by your credit and all that. And my credit wasn't bad. That wasn't the issue. The issue with my credit was I didn't have enough credit, right? So I don't do credit cards, right? For the longest time, I've only had my debit card. But I was trying to build up credit, so I ended up getting one credit card. That's it. And then I never ended up using that credit card. Like, I only use that credit card for emergencies, and I've never had like an emergency where I needed to use it. So it was just sitting in my wallet. So even though I had a credit card, I wasn't building up credit because I wasn't using it. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to use it and pay it off on time, and that helps build up your credit, right? So I was nervous about that because I knew that I didn't have enough credit. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have any debts or anything like that, so I knew that wasn't going to be a problem. So he ran it and all that stuff, and then he came back to me. We did it all over the phone. And he did it while I was on the phone, and he said I was approved. And I'm looking like, because I for sure thought, I was like, man. I was like, I know my credit score ain't really up there like that, and then I ain't got no credit on top of that. So before he actually ran my credit, I told him about, how I didn't have enough credit and how I was worried about that. And he said even though if I wouldn't have gotten approved, they would advise me on different ways to build up my credit. So one thing he had said was, we can have you take out another credit card and that will help build up your credit. And I was like, I ain't say this, but I was thinking in my head, hell no, I ain't getting another credit card. Nope, one is enough for me. So luckily I didn't have to go that route. I got approved, so I was cool. So he told me that I got approved for $215,000. And it was an FHA loan. I was like, oh my God, let's go. I was ready to get the ball rolling. And now that I have been approved, I can officially start looking for houses. So my realtor, she gave me this link, and it was a link to different listings, and it got updated daily. So baby, when I tell you, I'm on there looking at houses every single day, every hour, on the hour. Like, I was constantly on that website, just looking at different houses, just because I was just so excited, right? So I did not tell my family either that I was doing this. Like, me and my parents are so close, especially me and my mom. And I tell her everything. And so to not tell her this, it was hard because I told my mama everything, but I wanted to keep it a surprise because this was something big, I was looking to become a homeowner. So I wanted to do this on my own. I wanted to surprise my family, surprise my parents that I did all of this, didn't need any help. You know what I'm saying? And I just like doing stuff like that sometimes and just surprising people, And so nobody knew the whole time. Nobody knew the process that I was doing. Nobody knew that I was going to look at houses. Nobody knew nothing. So the first house that I saw, the first listing that I was interested in, I reached out to my realtor. I told her what it was, and she hit me back, and she was like, okay, so for this house, they're having one final showing today, and then they're closing it out. They're going to start going over the offers. So if you want this house, you're going to have to come look at it today and put in an offer on it today because they're not accepting any more offers after today. Now, mind you, it's like 3 o'clock when me and her are talking. I was still working. I didn't get off until 5 o'clock, and I was like, oh, dang, I cannot. I was like, I cannot, I can't take off to get, and then I got to get my kids when I get off of work. So I was like, oh. Luckily, she lived right down the road from that house. So she said that she would just go over there, and then she would FaceTime me when she got there, and she would walk all throughout the house and show it to me. And I was like, bet, let's go, let's do it. So she called me when she got there, went through the house, beautiful house, very beautiful house. I really liked it. And so I put in an offer on it. Now I know you're not supposed to put in an offer on the first thing you see. You need to shop around. But they were closing the offers. Like, it was the last day that they were accepting offers. So we put one in. And she had warned me how competitive the market is and how most of the time homeowners would be going through multiple offers, So she was like, if your offer doesn't get accepted, don't worry about it. Don't beat yourself up. There are a lot of offers that are going in, and it's a competitive, market. So she warned me. And so when I found out that my offer wasn't accepted, I was bummed. Because that was my first house. I really liked it. But I was like, okay, it's okay. So the next place I went to look at was a townhouse. So the first one was a house, if you will. And then the second one was a townhouse. And it was like literally like 10 minutes down the street from my parents. And I so loved that because, like I said, I'm close to my parents. So I wanted to stay near them. I wanted to live in the town that I grew up in. You know what I'm saying? I was familiar with it. So that's where I wanted to get my house in. And so when I saw this listing and saw how close it was to my parents, I was like, let's go. Let's go look. So I went to go look at it, and it was okay. I was disappointed because I was really hoping that it would be something that I loved so I could put an offer in just because it was close to my parents' house. So it was okay. The backyard, there was a swamp in their backyard. Like, the backyard was just a swamp. And it was kind of close. And I was like, ooh. But I still put an offer in on it. And the Lord must have knew that I was not really feeling it that much, or feeling it like I should be feeling, since this was going to be something that I'm buying, a home. It's not like a pair of shoes. It's something big. So the Lord knew that I would be wasting my money on this place. Because my offer did not get accepted. So the owners of the townhouse, they were moving out, and they were in the process of looking for a new house as well. They didn't have anything yet. And so I was told that the wife was getting anxiety because they had a window of when they had to be out of that townhouse, but they still hadn't found a new house for themselves. So they were nervous about that they wouldn't find a place in time. So they ended up taking the townhouse off the market, and they sold it to somebody to where that they'd be able to rent from them. So they could stay in that townhouse and just keep renting it out until they found their new house. So I was disappointed. I was mad. I'm like, God dang it. But I understood, they were nervous that they wouldn't find a place if they sold their place. So, I got it. I understood it, but I was still disappointed. So this is 2 for 2. 2 for 2. I'm getting kind of like, because, it's January. My lease is over in May, but I got to give them a 60-day notice. So that means I got to let them know in March, 2 months ahead of time. So I was on a time limit. So the next one that I went to see was a house. It was a house, and I fell in love with the landscaping. The landscaping in front of the house, like, I never knew how much landscaping could really, like, make the house just pop, right? And so they had like this mulch and the rocks, and they had the palm trees and the white picket fence. Like, it was just so dope, so dope. So I fell in love with that for the front yard. And then I went to the backyard and I fell in love with the backyard. I was like, oh! It was strictly the backyard, because the inside of the house, it was okay, but the bedrooms were really close. And in the master bedroom, there were 2 sinks. And I don't mean like a double sink where it's like one long counter and then you have 2 sinks. I'm talking about 2 individual sinks. There was a sink here and a sink here. And then the bathrooms were like outhouse style. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go in through one door and you can walk out through the other way. You know, and I was like, I don't really like that. But I really loved the backyard and I loved the neighborhood. It was a nice neighborhood. So I put an offer in. And it didn't get it. They went somewhere else, and I'm like, well, am I not meant to find a house? I guess, I was impatient, and I think it was just because of the time crunch. You know what I'm saying? Had there not been a time crunch, I might have just been like, okay, well, move on to the next, But since I was on a time crunch, I was nervous that I wouldn't find anything and I would have to renew my apartment lease again, because I damn sure didn't want to do that. So the 4th place we went to look at was a townhouse. And this one was nice. It really was. But it didn't come with the fridge. Like, they took the fridge out. And I'm like, who does that? Who takes the fridge? I mean, I guess if it was a really nice one, but they took the fridge. So I would have to replace that. But I ended up not putting an offer in on that one. I didn't put an offer in on that one. So the last place we went to was a townhouse. This one. And I fell in love with it. The neighborhood is beautiful. I'm kind of like out, I don't want to say in the middle of nowhere, but there's definitely not a lot of traffic going this way. You know what I'm saying? Where I am. And so that's what I really loved. But I fell in love with this place. The kitchen is beautiful, white counters. And it has a big ass island that I'm sitting at right now. A big ass marble island. And that's when we fall in love with it, baby, the kitchen. But it had a nice little patio, and I have like this little canal behind me where ducks swim in it, so I'm able to like look at the ducks and all that. And these loud ass cranes who don't care what they do, just walking around making noises. You know them cranes that don't get out the way when you're trying to drive. But so I really liked it, so I put in an offer, and my recruiter, that's from my job, my realtor, she felt like we really had a chance with this one, and I did too. Like, for some reason, I just felt it. I was like, I'm gonna get it. I'm getting a vibe. I'm gonna get it. So we're both on that same level. And so she calls me later on that night and she tells me that they did not accept my offer. They went with someone else. Baby, when I tell you, I cried my eyes out. You understand? For all the other houses that I went to look at, it was a bummer that I didn't get it, but I just moved on to the next. This one in particular, I was just so set on getting it. I had this feeling that I was gonna get it. And so when she told me that I didn't, I was just devastated, and I started boo-hoo crying. Not on the phone with her, but when I got off the phone. And so, since I kept this to myself, I couldn't call my mom for comfort and, let her know what happened, because I wanted to surprise her, So she calls me the next day and she tells me that the homeowners reneged. They decided to not sell to the other person whose offer they accepted. They decided not to sell to them, and they wanted to sell to me because they found out that I was a single mother with 2 kids, and the person that they were selling their house to was just gonna put it up for rent for someone to live in. And so they felt bad, and they felt like they'd rather have their house go to a family. So they accepted my offer. And baby, when I tell you, I was like, are you serious? I've been bawling my eyes out, and now they're accepting my offer. But I was so excited. I was like, finally, it is happening to me right in front of my face, my feelings, and I hide it. If you don't know that song, baby. So, that's how I almost didn't get this house. Because they went with somebody else. They accepted somebody else's offer. And then when they found out that that person wasn't even going to live in this house, they were going to rent it out to someone, they felt bad. And they wanted to sell it to a single mother with kids. They'd rather have sold their home to a single mother with kids versus to someone who is not even going to live in the house themselves. They're just going to rent it out. So when they told me this, I was so elated. I was so excited. I was so thankful. So that process was done. We went through the approval stage, got it approved. Then we went through the house hunting stage. We found a house, offer accepted. Now it's time to do the paperwork, right? So I'm doing all of the paperwork. It's so much paperwork. Trying to think. I don't want to like leave anything out. Okay, so the hard part was over. I found a house, and so offer accepted. So now I'm just signing paperwork. They're going over my documents. I had to send them pay stubs, employment history, all that stuff. And so I had to put $2,000 down to hold this. And I was gonna pay the rest of the payment with my tax return, right? So that was my plan, to pay with my tax return that I received. But since I don't want to say the word, not on YouTube, but since that had happened that year, last year, and then we were quarantined, it messed up the tax returns, right? Y'all remember that? Tax returns were so late this year. And then I get the child tax care credit because I have 2 kids. And so I'm doing my taxes because I do my taxes on my own. And it came out to an amount that I'm not used to because I normally get the same amount every year. And then that's when I found out the freaking thing that they were doing with the child tax care credit, like not including it in the tax return, but rather sending you the money every month. I was like, what? No, I don't need that. Not right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my gosh. I had to I was checking that website, the IRS website every day. The where is my refund? I was checking that every day, and there was not an update on when my tax return was coming. So I was so nervous. So at that time, I was talking to somebody, right? I had met somebody in December. I had met him online, and he was in the military. And so when we had started talking, he was on his way to somewhere. Washington. He was on his way to Washington for this convention. And then straight from the convention, they had to go out of the country. So he went to Kuwait. So we just continued talking, right? And so we built up a relationship. And so he was really cool. hella sexy, muscular, in uniform. So we would talk every day, send videos, video chat, you know what I'm saying? And so as the time was getting closer and my tax return was not coming, I asked him if he could lend me the money. Child, why did I do that? He had told me he would give me the money, and then like things started to like taper off with us, and he never gave me the money. He never asked me about it, like, hey, do you still need that money? Or, you know, even before we had stopped talking, he had, you know, he wasn't like, hey, when you need that money by, or, you know what I'm saying? And so I didn't want to bring it up to him. We had just met, and so if he didn't bring it up, I wasn't gonna bring it up either. I wasn't gonna, you know, repeatedly ask him if I could borrow money. I didn't want to, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't really know him like that. But I was getting to know him, and I liked him, and we had a cool relationship. I felt so many different ways about it because I really did not want to ask him for that money, especially since we had known each other for that long. But I really had no other option. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to go to my mom for it. You know, because number one, she didn't even know that I was buying a house. So, you know what I'm saying? So we ended up stopped talking, and I ended up having to tell my mom. I had to tell her because I had no other way to go. So I had to tell her, and she was like, girl, what? So she was like, oh no, we get in this house. You ain't gonna lose this house. So my mom gave me the money, and obviously I paid her back as soon as I got my tax return. Mind you, after I signed all the paperwork and all that to get my house, which was on March 19th, tell me why my tax return came the next week. I was like, are you serious? So of course I paid my mom back because that tax return money was gonna go to my house anyway. So I gave it to my mom, you know, and mom came through in the clutch. Like I was able to close and sign all my paperwork, and I was like, because y'all, you don't understand, like living in apartments, especially when you're on a third floor, taking up groceries, having to go back and forth downstairs, y'all. And then like, don't let there not be a parking spot available in front of your building, and you gotta park 5 buildings down and walk all the way back up to your apartment on the 3rd floor. I was like, no, I'm not doing it no more. And then the people below me, they were banging on their ceiling, you know, to tell me that I'm being too loud, and then had the nerve to come knock on my door. And I got an attitude with old girl. I was like, look, my kids are small. They're gonna run around. They're gonna make noise. It's not like they're jumping up and down. I don't know if the floors and the walls were just thin, but I was like, yeah, y'all are complaining about everything. And that's what I said. I was like, y'all are complaining about everything, okay? I have kids. They're gonna run around. They're gonna play, okay? They're not jumping up and down like in one spot for like 10 minutes, okay? I will monitor them, and if it gets too noisy or if I see them, you know, stomping or whatever, I will address it with them. But all this, don't come with my apartment. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't do that. So I was definitely excited to be getting away from that and not having to worry about having people under me or on top of me. It was great. It was great. So I got my house, y'all. I almost lost it. So I almost didn't get it when the homeowner sold it or accepted somebody else's offer, and then want to turn back around the next day and then give it to me. And then I almost didn't get it because my tax return money didn't come through in time, so I didn't have no money to pay off, you know what I'm saying? Like, to finish off the closing. You know, I had to pay the remaining balance, you know, after my credit approval, you know, after the loan approval went through, I had to pay the remaining balance, and I didn't have my tax return to do it. So I almost lost the house that way. But lucky mommy came through in the clutch like a OG. And helped me get my house. Y'all, it's crazy. It's crazy, man. So I've been here since March. It hasn't even been a year, but I'm still like so... Sometimes I'll come down my stairs and I'll just be smiling and I'm like, is this really like... I bought a house. I don't have no neighbors on top of me. Like, it's still surreal. Like, even after all this time, it's still surreal. I can't believe that I'm a homeowner. It's just crazy. But, yeah, that's it. That's how it happened. That's how I almost didn't get my house. That's how I almost lost it. But I'm here, baby. I'm here. And in a couple months, we're going to celebrate my first year as a home owner. All right, you guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button. If you'd like to leave me a comment, please feel free to do so down below. Let me know if y'all are first-time homeowners. And let me know your experience. If you had, some horror stories like I did, let me know. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the channel. You guys can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Arriel Alisha. All right, you guys, until the next time, please remember, stay focused, stay laughing, stay yourself, stay fly.